Howdy, folks. Greyhawk 4x4 coming at you again, your resident vintage gamer on a Raiders Sunday, having a imported German beer. Cheers. So, for those of you watching this on replay, there might be one person in here, but for everybody else, this will be on replay. So I bought a big giant box of beer. It's called a Christmas box of imported German beers. There's 12 of them. They're all these big 16-ounce cans, and each one of them comes from a small little brewery in a small German village over there. And this one is the Flotzinger Helle aus Rosenheim, meaning from Rosenheim. That's where it's the city where it's brewed. Says brewery tradition since 1543. So they've been around a while. And it's, I looked it up. Rosenheim is in Bavaria, way down, right by the Austrian border. And I was stationed in Bavaria. So this is like almost like going home for me. Because I do consider Germany my second home. So, hey, Rob. Hey, Chupa. So I got my Raiders shit on because the Raiders are playing right now. Last I checked, I had to turn it off because they were fucking up, and I can't watch it when they're fucking up. So I had to turn that off, but I still got to wear the shit for good juju, trying to, whatever that means, that try and maybe, positive vibes, whatever the fuck, So today we are going to do. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Yeah, you were the last time that they played. I think you were like on cloud nine because. Oh, are they playing your Giants? That's right. They are playing the Giants. That's right. God damn it. Well, Chupa, and last I checked, you guys were up by like, I think 3 points. You were up 7. Wait, you were up 17. No, not 17 to 14. 17 to 10. You might have been up 7 points. I can't remember. But yeah. I gotta hope that my guys can come through, so we'll see. But anyway, Rob, you were riding cloud nine last time because Liverpool beat somebody real big. So was it Manchester United that they beat? Oh, you're up by 1. The Raiders must have scored again. They must have. That's right. You guys were up by 4, I think. They must have got another fucking field goal. Seems to be all that we're capable of today. Is but yeah, Rob, I think they beat Manchester United last time that they played, and you were on cloud nine, man. Which I don't blame you. So, what we're gonna do today. Oh, good. Yeah, you've been watching Grantchester. Outstanding. Yeah, that's a good one, man. Are you starting from the beginning? Or did you start with like this season? I hope you started from the very beginning because the whole thing's fantastic. So, today, because tomorrow, normally on my schedule, I would do my campaign update, and what I said was I will have it done by then always. I'm going to do it right now during the live. We're going to do our campaign update here. And the reason we're going to do that is because tomorrow is my birthday, and I ain't doing shit tomorrow. So I got my little notes here. So for those of you that there's you two guys are in here. Looks like Rob and Chupa. So everybody else will be seeing this on replay. This is what I do for the D&D campaign. I take a regular calendar. Doesn't matter what year it is, because I change everything to the Greyhawk calendar the Greyhawk days, the Star Day, Sun Day, Moon Day, God's Day, Water Day, Earth Day, Free Day. And then the months are 28. They're 28 days per month. Um, and then there's four festivals during the year that break up the seasons. And so that's how I keep track of like what's happening and what occurred and so forth. So that's what I'm going to go by real quick here to do this update. Uh, thanks, Chupa. So where we left off, they had been doing their guerrilla warfare campaign against the giant stronghold. Thanks, Rob. So they had been picking them off like 2 at a time, and they had killed a total of 10 giants. But excuse me, out of over 30, there was like 30 total giants that they found in that room when they opened the banquet doors. Took a shit, crapped their pants, out they ran. But since then they killed 10 giants, and then we started back up. So what they did this time was they started their guerrilla warfare campaign up again, and they're very good at it apparently, because let's see here. The first thing that they did was the building itself has a guard tower, which we've explained before, and after they've been picking these giants off 2 at a time at the outer doors and stuff like that, the next time that they went and scouted the building, there were no giants outside anymore. So obviously they have pulled everybody inside to fortify and not leaving anybody out there to get picked off. But what they did see is that there was some giants visible in the guard tower. So our druid ranger, our dranger, or what I call Ruid, or whatever, he decided that from his flying mount he could do lightning storm. And I had to check for the weather conditions, and the weather conditions just so happened to be conducive to allow the spell to be cast. And he blasted that tower with lightning, and he basically did it a couple of times and burnt that tower to the ground. Now, the way it's described in the module is that it's a very damp area. It rains a lot. The wood is damp, so to burn the whole building would be very unlikely. But because he was using lightning and he did it a few times, he was able to destroy that tower, which now they're doing psychological warfare against these giants. They've been picking them off. Now they're blowing shit up. So they did that, which took out, an observation post for the giants. Then the next thing they did was they had the gnome illusionist rogue, or known illusionist assassin. His name is Hingle McCringleberry. He decided to do a nighttime scouting mission, and if you remember, there you had the main building, then you had a open compound for the dire wolves that they released, and then there was like some outbuildings on the other side of that open courtyard. So he decided he was going to climb in, because it looked like they had abandoned that area after the wolves were released, and he wanted to explore those outbuildings, and he did. And he found that they were pretty much abandoned as well. So he found like a horn that might have been used as a warning horn, or to call the wolves or whatever. He found that. He did find the guard captain's room in that outbuilding that had a sack hanging. It had some chests that just had equipment and shit in them, but there was a sack hanging. Now, here's the funny part. Mike Browning I hope that can't possibly be Mike Browning that I was in the army with at Fort Sill, because that'll blow my mind. Um, so anyway, I'll wait to see. Um, but so this sack is hanging on a peg, and because he's a little gnome, he can't reach the peg to get the sack off or whatever. So he takes his dagger or his sword or whatever, and he cuts it open at the bottom, and he's standing underneath it. And it just so happened in that sack there was 1,300 gold pieces, and he's literally getting a golden shower. He's literally getting a golden shower and gold pieces. And there were some gems in there. So gems and gold. And if you know Hangle McCringleberry, this character, the way Brad plays him, he is all about the money, man. Show me the gold. And I'm not silencing this because I got my fantasy football, and that was looks like I got a touchdown. So, okay, so I didn't think so because you said Greyhawk, and he would have called me by my name, but he would have called me by my last name if it had been the other Mike Browning. Um, so anyway, he's literally basking in this golden shower because he is all about the bling. He wants all the treasure. He wants all the gold. He wants all the fame. He wants all the fortune. All of it. And so that was all. I mean, of anything of worth, but that was a nice haul. And so he goes back after seeing that these buildings, this outbuilding, and everything has pretty much, been sacrificed. And he goes back, and then they decide, okay, now we know that there's nothing in there. We're going to burn that too. More psychological warfare. So I don't know if you guys will remember, but from the Temple of Elemental Evil, they got a special mirror, a magical mirror that was in there, and it allows twice a week for somebody to basically communicate through the mirror, the magical mirror, and they can even pass stuff through there. And what they did with that mirror is they have it back in town in Devers, their hometown, and it's hanging in the Wizard's Tower, and they are very good friends with the town master mage or whatever you want to call him. He's the one who he has the magic shop, and he's part of the town council. His name is Esmus, and he agreed to check in with them twice a week to see if they need anything. And so what they're doing is they told him, they said, hey, we need a bunch of oil. And they told him that, and then they basically, over the next 3-day period, they did, some more scouting missions and that type of thing, waiting for the oil. They get the oil, he passes it through the mirror to them and everything. And I forget how much I gave them, but with their flying mount, they were able to drop that and douse it on the roof of these outbuildings and everything. But the at some point, I can't remember if it was during that mission or when the druid was doing lightning storm on the guard tower. At one point, I always have them roll 20 sided because if they roll a 1, something's gonna fuck up. And at some point he rolled a 1 and he fell off of his flying mount. And thank God he's a druid because he turned into flight form. He has it's a innate ability or whatever, like certain amount of times he can do that, and he turned into an owl or some shit, or an eagle or some shit. If it had been anybody else, they'd have fallen to their death because he was way the fuck up there. But anyway, so they douse it, they set it aflame, and because of the oil and their accelerant, they burn that to the ground. So now they've burned the tower, they've burned the outbuildings, and no doubt the giants are knowing that this is happening. Oh, the other thing they did was during those 3-day period where they're waiting for the oil, the druid was releasing plagues like rats, because he was able to call rats to him or whatever and give them instructions, and he had them go into the compound and basically eat and spoil the food, like basically shit on the food, eat, tear the food open. And so they've sent rats in to more psychological warfare and trying to spoil their food rations and so forth. So you got the rats, now they've burned the buildings. And then after the buildings have been burned, Hingle decides there's one little single door in that open compound where the wolves were, and they hadn't checked that yet. So he goes in there and he finds a room that they had already been in, and he goes down and does some more exploring and so forth. And he's able to see in the way down the hallway, he's able to see a bunch of giants like moving rapidly through the hallways. And there's some giant like sergeant or whatever barking orders about make sure to secure that door and and all that. So they're like they're constantly bolstering their defenses, but they're obviously rattled by all this bullshit that they're doing to them. And they do some more scouting and so forth, and they come up with the idea that they could tunnel. They know that there is a part of that scouting missions. They found a little room where a bunch of orc slaves were hiding from the giants, and they told them that, look, we just want to get away. We'll tell you whatever you want. And one of them, or more than one of them, speak orc, or speak goblin, which the orcs also speak, and so they're able to communicate. And they basically tell them, hey, the giants are like scared shitless. They're screaming at each other. They're at each other's throats. They're trying to board up everything. They're trying and all this. And if you'll just let us go, we'll tell you that down in the basement there is a whole bunch of more of us that are down there. They're planning a rebellion against the bugbear. There's bugbears down there that are the ones that are in charge of the orc slaves down there, and they're planning a rebellion. And these orcs explain to them. They say, hey, if you guys can get down there and get them on your side, that would be a big help or whatever. And then they let them go. They let the orc slaves go. So now they know that they knew there was a basement, but now they know a little bit more about it. And they decide they're going to tunnel under the compound to try and get down to the basement without having to go. Because they're at the point now where there's only a couple of ways in, and those two ways into the main compound are going to be, they know they're going to be heavily guarded. They're going to be boarded up. There's going to be boulders in front of it. It's going to be very difficult to get in. So they decide to tunnel. And the way they do this is, again, the druid is able to call creatures, woodland creatures and so forth. And he calls some badgers, and he turns himself, he does a shapeshift into a giant badger, which he's able to do. And between him and them, they're able to tunnel at an angle down. And basically, the way where they showed me on the map, they wanted to do the tunneling. They break through into a cavern underneath. And the way I described it to him was, it was a carrion cavern, meaning that these creatures, they can see the creatures, even though it's dark down, they can see creatures moving around. They're carrion crawlers, which anybody that's played D&D is familiar with carrion crawlers. They're basically giant worm type creatures that feed on dead bodies and stuff like that. They and then they throw them into piles. They drag them into piles, and they pile up the carrion, and that's what they eat off of. But the smell is unimaginable. How bad it would smell down there. And so they decide to drop down as a group and fight the carrion crawlers, and then they'll be in the basement. And that's what they do. They drop down, and there's two carrion crawlers they run into. They kill both of them, and now they're in this cavern that smells like death, is like putting it mildly. But that was the end of the night. At that point, it was time to call it quits. So that's where we stopped. They're in that cavern. They've made it into the basement. They've done the psychological warfare like as best as I could imagine any group could do. They've got the giants all rattled, and now they've got information. They've got intelligence about more orc slaves down here in the basement that they might be able to recruit to help them. So they've done recon work. They've done guerrilla warfare. They've done psychological warfare. I mean, I gotta say, my crew, they're doing very well on this adventure. So, just if any of you are beer drinkers out there, at Costco, those of you that are here in the U.S., I'm assuming they don't have Costco in Europe, but maybe they do. They have these 12 beers of Christmas, a big ass box, and they're all these imported German beers from these little towns and villages and stuff like that. I can't recommend it highly enough because this is a legit German Helles style beer here. Mm. Oh, they do have Costco there, Rob. That blows me. If that's true, that blows me away. I did not know that they were outside the U.S. I'll be damned. I will be damned. Okay, well, you guys are over in Europe. You guys can probably get a lot of these smaller. This is the only way I know of to get these little smaller German brewery beers. So, Chupa says, "Yeah, my party would have kicked in the door, gotten slaughtered, and blamed the DM for putting them against too many enemies." That's another way to do it. But I don't think a single party member suggested that they were going to kick in the door when they saw that what they were facing there. Um, so yeah, no, my hat's off to the crew the way they're handling this. So I thought there was no way that I would have believed that when I started them on this that they'd get as far as they have gotten without a character death, without one of the characters dying. Now they had a close call, but yeah. So hey John, I don't think I've said hi to you yet. Let's see here. I think I've said hi to everybody else. Mike Browning. So let's see here. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Nope. So anyway, so that is the update on the campaign. I will not be doing a video tomorrow. If I did do a video tomorrow, it would be because something in the gaming industry something big happened or whatever. Blizzard fucked up again or somebody, but other than that, I will at some point, Rob. Yeah, I'm probably going to wait for the Christmas sale, the Steam Christmas sale, because as everybody knows, the Steam Christmas sale, like everything is like 65 or more % off, and that's when I pick up a lot of games is during the sales. So I'll probably wait. I've been playing. Hey, one of my players. Speak of the devil, the Druid Ranger himself makes an appearance. Jonathan. I'm calling your character either a Druid or a Dranger, Jonathan. Instead of saying Ranger Druid over and over again. So, so yeah, I don't know if you just logged in, Jonathan. If you did, you missed me giving you guys all this fucking praise and stuff about how you guys have handled this to this point. I mean, yeah, I don't want you all's head to get too big, but so let's see. Oh, yeah, I've been playing Everquest 2 while waiting for New World to stabilize. It appears that it may be on the path to stabilization to a certain extent, but I want to give it a little bit further, a little bit more before I decide to start putting in a whole bunch of time. I'm enjoying EverQuest 2 again. So I've been doing that. And yeah, tomorrow I think my wife has a place that I haven't been to before she wants to take me to for my birthday called Prohibition here in Salt Lake. And it is a craft cocktail. They make craft cocktails. They're known for that. And I looked at the menu. They got all kinds of crazy ass cocktails that they make and stuff. The food looks really good too. And so I think that's where we're gonna go tomorrow, maybe for either brunch or dinner. Haven't decided yet. And let's see. Check out the burlesques there. Really? So you've been there, Jonathan, huh? Okay. Yeah. Oh, they do a burlesque night on Tuesdays. Wow. That's all good information. Well, I mean, you figure the one single guy in the group. Well, there. No, I guess we have a couple of single guys. Yeah. Uh, let's say. Well, we got what, two single guys that are of drinking age. Um, one of which Jonathan is. So I guess that. Yeah. Well, I saw that they have a classic Bloody Mary, and if I go for brunch, I gotta get me a Bloody Mary to start things off with every time. So, hey, Gamer BR, I'm going to assume that is short for Gamer Bro, or I just made that up. So, but howdy, there. Appreciate you checking in from Brazil. So. I'm pretty sure we got somebody in here from Canada right now. I know we got somebody in here from Great Britain, somebody from Brazil now. I haven't seen any of either one of my Norway peeps, so but they'll probably check in at some point here. It's a global link, folks. So, what does anybody have any questions, or what are you guys? Why don't you guys put in there what you guys are playing right now? I know that Rob is playing Valhalla, and he's spoken very highly of that. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I think that in order to play that, Rob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I need to hook up a controller for that, right? Our play sessions are between 4 and 5 hours, unless we do a Saturday marathon. And if we do that, we usually play. So when we say a marathon session, we do it in two separate sessions. We do Friday night like normal, and then we start right back up again Saturday at like 11 o'clock in the morning, and we try to go as long as we can. We've gone as long as 12 hours before on a Saturday, so we've done Friday night for 4 or 5 hours, taking a break, slept and all that, come back 11 o'clock in the morning, and gone for 12 hours till 11 o'clock at night. We've done that a couple of times. Yeah, Jonathan can vouch for that. We get all kinds of food. This whole thing is fully stocked. I mean, Jonathan can tell you that the fully stocked bar is there. There's a fridge there for sodas and everything. I bring out the big cooler so people can bring more drinks and stuff like that. There's a bathroom down here, so literally we come down here and we're down here for 12 hours straight. We don't even fucking leave. It's crazy. Yeah, just like Fallout 4. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're talking about the controls. I thought you were saying about like being bunkered in like a Fallout bunker. You were talking about the controls. Now I could have sworn that the first Assassin's Creed I tried on the computer, it forced me to put a controller on, and that's why I didn't care for it. I'm not great on a controller because I don't play a lot of console stuff. So, but it sounds like maybe they've just added proper keyboard and mouse controls, which that'll make a big deal for me. Yeah, that I need to Chupa. I need to do a new room tour because a lot has changed since that last time. But the general layout is the same. But yeah, yeah, and I think I showed you guys that I got that guest book that I have everybody sign when they come to play here, and I probably got 50 signatures in there over because I used to have the D&D group, plus I had a Pathfinder group that we played down here. We played on Fridays D&D, and then we had a Saturday Pathfinder group. And then the leader of that group, she moved out of state. So we we stopped doing that or whatever. But um, so we were always having new people leave, and then new people would come in. So I've got at least 50 different signatures and so forth in that guest book. And the plan is if I end up staying here for if this is our forever home, hell, another 20 years, that guest book could be full, you know. So um yeah, and if any of you guys are in the Salt Lake area or planning to come to the Salt Lake area and you tell me ahead of time, we could arrange something where you could sit in on the game or something like that. Now I'm speaking of my regulars here, Rob, Chupa, all you guys that are on, basically all you're in here. But um, yeah, so yeah, well, this was the since I was a teenager, this was the dream was to have my own gaming area separate from the rest of the house where if I want to just take everything off the table and put a bunch of stuff out and to do painting of minis and do mini painting for like 2 or 3 days nonstop, or if I want to, when I work on my collection, on archiving my collection and curating it, I have the space to do that. And regardless of whatever the project is I'm working on, or if I'm working on my campaign or a big Lego build or whatever, I've got the space to do that. And the wife has her she has several areas of it. She's got her Oz room. She's got the kit because she's a cooking is her hobby. So she's got that and basically the master bedroom. I'm down here most of the time, so she can do whatever project she wants to do up there. So it works out great. I've already seen all of the Lewis series, Rob. We saw so it started with Inspector Morse, going way back to the 80s, and then Lewis was his assistant in the Morse series. And then when Morse ended, Lewis they started the Lewis series up. So it went if you go chronologically, it went Morse, then Lewis, and now you have Endeavor. Endeavor is the prequel to Morse because Endeavor um, is the main character, the same character as Morse. It's just him when he's young, because Morse is when he's an older guy. He's like a chief detective or whatever. And the prequel Endeavor is when he just started on the force. And so, if you wanted to watch it chronologically, you would watch Endeavor, then you would watch Morse, then you would watch Lewis. Then Lewis had an assistant, and I can't think of his name. Tall, skinny, blonde guy. Damn, I can't think of his name. And I thought for sure when Lewis ended, I was convinced that they would just start up a new series with that guy because that character was fantastic, and I cannot think of his name. Damn, it's been a while since I saw Lewis. So, but they didn't do it for whatever reason. They did not. Well, I know why they started Endeavor, the prequel. That's what they did. So maybe when Endeavor ends, the prequel ends, then perhaps maybe they'll start up with from where Lewis ended off. So, but yeah, that whole franchise, um, Hathaway. There you go. So I thought Hathaway. It would right after Lewis ended. I thought they would do Hathaway, because that character was so good. But they did Endeavor as a prequel instead. So again, like I was saying, maybe when Endeavor ends, then they'll try and do Hathaway if that actor is still available if he wants to do it. There was I'm trying to think now. I think there was a female character at the end of Lewis. Damn, I can't think for sure. But I thought there was a female that she was a constable and she became a detective. The old helmet. Strap on spelled backwards is no parts. Well, thank you for that bit of trivia, I guess. Um, so I can't remember that. that female character. She wasn't in, but she was. They were developing her into a character, so it could be that they could start up, wanting to have more diversity. So if they could do a character based on her, a show based on that character too. Um, so yeah, and for those of you that aren't following any of this, this is all, excuse me, British crime drama stuff. If you guys, again, those that have not gotten into the British crime drama thing, it their shows are, at least on uh that type of show, they're far and above our shows as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we have the CSIs and all that kind of stuff and everything. I think their stuff's much better. So, um, but again, that's just me. So I'm afraid to turn the TV on and check the score of the Raider game. I'm afraid that Chupa's Giants might be beating us, and I don't want to raise my blood pressure because I just went to the doctor last week, and my blood pressure was high, and he's actually got me doing a blood pressure log where I have to check it like a couple times a day, and I have to keep track of it, and then when I finish it, I got to send it to him, and he has to decide if he's going to put me on blood pressure medication. So, yeah, my Raiders can single-handedly fuck me and put me on blood pressure medication. So, Chupa must be, yeah. I know you're following the score, aren't you? Yeah, and I was trying to avoid it, Rob, but you know, um, I'm in my mid-50s, so it might just be one of those things where it becomes inevitable. 5 minutes left. Damn, I don't want to watch. So, because we're so close, the Raiders are so close. To leading the West, AFC West, and we're not usually in that position. The Raiders are usually, sucking hard. Okay, so you got me beat, Rob. You're going to be 68. Okay, yeah. I don't know if you guys saw that though. So, Rob, this is good news for you. They recently, it might have been as recent as a couple days ago, they changed the age categories now because people are living longer, and I believe they said that you're considered young now until you're 65 to 65 to 80 is middle-aged. 80 or no 65 to 78, I think it is, or 75 or something like that, is middle-aged, and then the next category is elderly, and then there's like senior elderly, like over 95 years old or whatever. But the new categories would be, so 68, you're considered middle-aged. And yeah. And I'm considered young. Mid-50s, I'm still considered young now, apparently. So, of course, they don't know how much fucking mileage I have on this body. That's your mileage may vary, is what they should put under that, because depending upon how hard you've lived, if you've lived a clean life and not taken a lot of chances and not put a lot of abuse on your body, yeah, that's a whole lot different than, having been in the military and picked up habits in the military that you've had the rest of your life, and all that. So yeah, but I thought you might find that informative there, Rob. So trying to think here. I thought there was another gaming story that I wanted to cover here. Let's check it out here. There was something else, and I forgot to. Oh, that's what it was. Star Wars: The Old Republic. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played it or are playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO. And there was some questions, I guess, recently about them thinking about people were asking, "Are you guys thinking about shutting it down?" Because it's 10 years old now, and they responded saying they have no intentions of shutting it down, and they expect it to go for at least another 10 years. So for those of you, I played the shit out of it when it first came out. I played it for a long time, got burned out or whatever. But yeah, they're saying that they're not. Okay, you played it when level 50 was capped. I don't know what the cap is now. I played it when level 50 was capped too, so I'm not sure what it is now. But what part of the army were you in? I was in artillery. Specifically, I was a um, I was trained to launch missiles at the Russians uh, in Germany in what was called the Fulda Gap. The Fulda Gap was where they expected if the Russians were going to invade West Germany. This is still before the wall fell. That it would come. They would come through the Fulda Gap, and um, yeah, Chupa, he was a gun. What we called a gun bunny, 13 Bravo. They were regular artillery with the big guns, the 155 howitzers. I'm trying to see if I can remember all my nomenclature from the 13 Bravos. Um, uh, you had the 155s. Didn't you have a M198? There was an M198, but that was the Toad howitzer. And then you had the self-propelled. I can't remember those. 8-inch. Okay. Yeah, the Paladins, I think, those are the self-propelled howitzers, and which a lot of people mistakenly call tanks. They're not tanks; they're howitzers. So yeah, I was a medium range. We were a medium range, uh, ballistic and nuclear capable battlefield tactical missile. Technically, what they called our system. You had Pershings. The Pershings actually was Pershing twos by the time I was over in Germany. You had the Pershing twos, which were long range. You had us, which were medium range. Then MLRS was, we called them the bottle rockets. The MLS launchers came out right when I went in, and they were, yeah, we were nuclear capable. Rob, we had two different types. We had conventional, so different warheads. We would just put a different warhead on. We had conventional warheads and we had nuclear warheads. And a lot of people don't know that Chupa also had nuclear howitzer rounds. There were you had to go through a place called Snow Hall at Fort Sill for special training for the nuclear, to be part of the nuclear surety program and the PRP and all that, personal reliability program. Chupa knows all that shit. And yeah, and when they did uh, the Nuclear D Proliferation Act, they got rid of all the nuke capable howitzer rounds. They got rid of Pershing. They got rid of My System Lance. Yeah, that was all part of the Nuclear Deproliferation Act. And of course, the Russians are supposed to do the same, which who knows whether the fuck they did or not. But and then the wall fell while I was over there and all that. So that all happened about the same time. And if I remember correctly, Chupa and I actually served right about the same time. I don't know if we were in the same area or not. I can't remember, but he and I both served, I think, right around the same time. So, um, to answer your question, no, that was not Jimmy Carter. We're talking 80s. I was in when Reagan was in, and then Bush Senior took over. Same thing. Yeah, Chupa was 87, 91. I was 85 to 90. So we were in the same time. Running Castles and Crusades Monday night this week. Yeah, that's one system that I never got into, John. I think we've had this conversation before. But if I had more room, and it has never stopped me before not having room, but I really need to do some, at least maybe buy like the player's handbook for Castles and Crusade, and I may even have it on PDF. I might actually have it on PDF through Drive Through RPG. Um, just to kind of read through it and kind of see what the flavor is of that system. Um, I don't know the history of it. I don't know. I'm assuming it came out as an alternative to D&D. Um, now I did play Traveler, um, but I need to do some more research on Castles and Crusades. Same thing with Tunnels and Trolls. I never played either one of those, Castles or Crusades and Tunnels and Trolls. Never did either one of those. So I was too much. I was too much in love with D&D the whole time. So I should have expanded my horizons. Excuse me. So, um, Traveler was fantastic. I have maybe I'll bring that out one day during a live. I'll just bring my Traveler box out. I got a bunch of shit in there that um, it was. So you had Metamorphosis Alpha, which was TSR's. They were the ones that started that whole sci-fi RPG thing, and then I want to say Traveler came after Metamorphosis Alpha, and then um, you had Gamma World, which was post-apocalyptic, and then Star Frontiers later, which was um, basically kind of like not kind of like Traveler and Metamorphosis Alpha. The cool part about Metamorphosis Alpha, if you guys don't know about that at all, because that's an old that goes way back. Now that Goodman Games has did a reprint and a new version of Metamorphosis Alpha, and Jim Ward, who created it, the original, helped. But the whole idea there was that the entire game of Metamorphosis Alpha takes place on a ship called the Warden, and the ship is the size of a large city. It's gigantic. Whatever spaceship you have ever thought of as being like times 100. We're talking about an entire like city size ship. Like you could fit probably you could on the Warden you could probably fit 50 USS Enterprises from Star Trek. I mean, it was gigantic. And so the whole system takes place on the Warden, and you had mutants, you had androids, like robots, humans, and I thought there was another, I think there's might be another race that I'm forgetting, but I know you had those for sure. And you could play as a mutant, you could play as a human, or you could play as an android or a robot or whatever. And there were parts of the ship that were, if I remember, it was like they built the Warden to escape the Earth because Earth was going to become inhabitable, and so they built this gigantic ship to take everybody on. And I mean, I'm just vaguely remembering some of this shit. But anyway, that's Metamorphosis Alpha. And if you do a Google search, you'll see Goodman Games did a full revamp. I have the whole thing, and maybe I'll bring that out someday too. They had a full revamp of the system. I have the original Metamorphosis Alpha, which is just a little tiny book, like a module sized thing. But they did the full revamp and all that, which was, I mean, the concept is fantastic of being all aboard this giant ship but it's like being on a city, so. I have Star Trek, Rob. I don't know if you can see it from where I'm sitting. Let's move here. Ha. So if I move right there, you can see both of the Star Trek RPG. I have the first edition, and I don't know if my finger's on the right spot, but right in there, I have the first edition, and then I have the second edition. I have both editions box sets right there for Star Trek, the role playing game. So, yeah, I mean, I have the old school systems. I have most everything that I can think of with the exceptions of Tunnels and Trolls and Crack Castles and Crusades. Um, I've got Arduin stuff. I've got Empire of the Petal Throne, um, and then Traveler and Star Trek, and I've got the Indiana Jones, the Marvel superheroes. Um, yeah. Hey, Mistra. Um, yeah, you were telling me about the Expanse before. I've got it. I've got it added to my to watch list. I am working my way. I'm about halfway through season 4 now of the Next Generation, and then what I'm probably going to do when I finish that is I'm going to go check out the Expanse, based on your recommendation, and then I'm assuming I'll like it. I'll probably watch the Expanse, and then I'll jump back into the Star Trek universe, um, like Deep Space Nine and all those. I never saw any of those, so um, yeah, I need to do that. So um, yeah, we've been covering my army career. We've been covering different types of role playing systems. We've been talking about beer. We've been talking about football. We've been talking about D&D. I did so, Mistra. You probably missed it, but you have to watch it on replay. I did the full recap on the from our session on Friday. I did the recap in this live, because uh, tomorrow I won't be doing a video because tomorrow's my birthday. So I'm not working tomorrow. I'm not doing anything tomorrow. So that is not a bubblegum machine. That is an M&M. This right there, that's an M&M dispenser. That's full of, well, it's half full of peanut M&Ms right now. They only make 5 episodes in 3 years, but generally good shows. Um, Thank you, Mistra. Um, so yeah, we never allow the peanut M&M supply over there. We never allow the peanut M&M supply to ever dwindle. I have from Costco. I got 2 of the big things to refill that with. So, yeah, like I said, this basement down here is fully stocked at all times. Sodas, beer, full liquor cabinet. Uh, yeah, and you guys can't, with the angle, the liquor cabinet's over. You can't see it. Um, let's see here. Um, so when John says they only make 5 episodes in 3 years, I'm assuming you mean The Expanse. I'm assuming that's what you're talking about. Yeah, Rob. I do actually. I consider myself pretty lucky, but I worked pretty fucking hard too to get to. It was a lot of hard work to get to this point in my life where I'm at right now. So, but yeah, luck had something to do with it too. I'm sure. So, um, yeah, and the where I was working before I retired for the city doing taking care of all the swimming pools and everything. They've made contact with me a couple times trying to pick my brain and all that shit. And I'm just like, if you guys want to pay me a consulting fee, if you want to pay me a consulting fee to go back and help you, we can talk. We can negotiate a consulting fee, but just so you know, I'm going to be expensive. So it's like a Fallout Vault, without the bugs and bad. Exactly. Yeah. It basically, yeah. Um, the only thing I need down here, I need to put the whole house on a generator, a backup generator, and I need down here, I need some kind of an air purifier, like so that if there was like ever a apocalyptic nuclear apocalypse or whatever, if I had an air purifier system down here, and have everything on a generator, I'd be in pretty good shape. Okay, so Expanse is 56 episodes. Wow. Are there a lot of 136 old people year old people walking around. Yeah, gaming vault. No, n- not to say that in the future, what was Fallout was 2077. Who knows? You could always have people that have been uh, um, cryogenically frozen by then. The technology could have been that people were cryogenically frozen and then thawed out later. And if this building was still standing, this house was still standing, you you could have people that would inhabit this in 2077. You still got a few cases of MREs laying around. Are we talking the 80s version from the 80s era? Because I know that they got the newer ones. You and I, we didn't have the luxury like they do now with the MREs that have the little thing inside where they heat them. They're able to heat them up. They got some little widget in there that they can use to heat their MREs. We didn't have that, Chupa. If you remember, you and I, we wanted to heat anything up. We had to start a fire and heat up some water in the canteen cup, and then drop the pouches in there. Is the only way to heat it up, unless we had like a potbelly stove or something like that. Mm. So Rob says, I loved wiping out Kellogg. It's one of the highlights of that game. Uh, that voice actor that did Kellogg was so good at playing that character as a voice actor for that character that he infuriated. I'm assuming all of you were in the same boat I was. It was just a character in a video game, but he pissed me off so bad just through his ability as a voice actor to antagonize me in the game. Oh, it was fantastic. And like you said, it was so rewarding to take him out finally. Um there's been very few times in my video game career, in my history, where I've actually yelled at the computer monitor um because I was pissed or whatever because the characters that was one of them. That was one of them when you're walking down there to meet Kellogg and he's telling you, "Oh, just turn around and go back, dude. There's no hope for you to prevail here." And he's like, and he's talking to you about your son and all this other bullshit. And you get to him finally, and I'm just like, "Fuck you, goddamn! I'm gonna kick your ass." I mean, I'm talking to the computer monitor. I mean, and I know I'm not the only one that did that. But that just shows how good of a job that actor did on that. So yeah, the first time in Hubris Comics, you're right. That was a full experience in itself. That whole going through that whole place. Um, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of moments in Fallout 4 that will stick with me for a long time. Fallout 4 was far more impactful on me than Skyrim, and I'm a medieval swords and sorcery type of a guy, but and I love Skyrim, but Fallout 4 was much more impactful on me than Skyrim was. I get that in Final Fantasy 14 with a character called Asai in the Stormblood expansion. So that must be another character that either oh you hate that okay so it's one of those. Yeah, that Kellogg is one. I'm trying to think of the there was a game called System Shock 2. Um and uh I want to say it was for some reason I want to say Shogun and it wasn't Shogun. It was something similar to that. There was a computerized character that antagonized you in System Shock 2. I can't think of the character's name. But it was voiced by an actor. That one, and then GLaDOS from the Portal series. GLaDOS. That was another one. Those are the ones that come to mind. System Shock 2, Fallout 4, Portal. Those are the ones that jump to mind for me. You know. So Portal 2, I don't know that anybody here. Well, some of you are at my age or older, so some of you might have played might have played System Shock 2. Yeah, a good point there, Mister. When you consider it exceptional, when you hate their guts, but you still think they're good the characters were impactful, and yes, that's exactly the best way to put it. Yeah. Um, I played about halfway through Alien Isolation, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know why I stopped. I can't remember why. Sometimes, um, my at least in my working days, you know, something would happen job wise where I'd have to just be out of gaming for a few days to deal with work and real life and stuff like that, and then another game would catch my attention or something, and I would forget where I left off somewhere else. So that would happen. Um, so yeah, and what's funny about that is that uh, if there's younger people have seen the Alien series usually, and they played the Alien games, but they've never seen most, at least that I talked to, never saw The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. And if you liked Alien and the Alien franchise, and you never took the time to see The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, um, you are missing out. Now I don't know that they ever made a video game based upon The Thing, but they should have if they didn't. Yes, Kurt Russell, but it's made by John Carpenter. It's one of the best. I guess you call it a horror movie. I call it a horror thriller. Um, so Mistra, eh, take mine and take the old guy's word for it. The movie The Thing by John Carpenter came out in the 80s. You owe it to yourself to watch that movie. If you like scary movies with a good story, not just a slash. It's not just a slasher. You know, Friday the 13th and stuff like that. Those are slasher movies and everything else. I put The Thing and Alien. To me, there's a psychological element to them on top of the slasher stuff. You know, so that's why I say that. Yeah, owe it to, if it's on any streaming service or whatever, you owe it to yourself to take the 2 hours and check it out. So yeah. Yeah, don't give any spoilers away, Rob. So because she hasn't seen it yet, and I'm assuming there's other people that haven't either. So, um, let's see where are we at. Oh shit, we're at an hour. Okay, it's time to. Hey, Colin. Um, hey, Colin, are you the one that's one of the folks that's from Canada? I think it was. For some reason, I was thinking it might have been you that was out of Canada. Right on, Mister. Um, so let's see. Yeah, we're over an hour now. So, oh, that's right. You're from Glasgow. That's right. Um, so I will wait a little bit, see if anybody's got any uh, final questions or anything like that. Especially for you, Colin, because you just popped in. Um, Colin, if you like to watch if you like the recaps on the D&D campaign, I did that at the beginning of the live. So you may want to go back and watch this on replay. Because I'm not doing a video tomorrow because it's my birthday, so I won't be working tomorrow at all. So I did it at the beginning of the live. So um, All right, Rob. Talk to you later. Okay, so any last minute questions or anything before I shut this thing down? Colin, if you came in late, I'm having a good German brew from a small town called I got it Rosenheim um, in Bavaria, and this is from Costco. Has a big Christmas pack of beers, German beers, that they're selling right now, and that's where I got this from. If you're from Scotland, so I'm assuming you're probably a beer drinker. So, all right, guys. Well, I will shut her down, and no video tomorrow, and then that leaves us with, I think Tuesday is my yeah, we'll do a Q&A. Yeah, I like a beer or two or several, too, as well, Colin. So thanks, mister. So no video tomorrow. We'll see you guys on Tuesday. I'll do a Beer 30 Q&A. And when I say Q&A, basically any questions that I get that come through on social media or anything in between now and then, I will answer those on that Beer 30 Tuesday. And then, of course, any gaming news or anything that happens in between, that's what I'll cover on Tuesday. So until then, guys, we'll catch you on the flip side.